Hey guys, so in today's video we're going to cover the FlyQuest versus 100 Thieves, kind of, I would consider featured matchup. I think this is a really cool take by FlyQuest, going for some interesting sort of matchup dynamics, and 100 Thieves kind of adapting to the passion based on the bans given to them because of what they kind of set themselves up for. The reason I say this is because they actually started off with 3 ADC bans. Everyone says ADC is weak, but it's just permanently being these ADCs getting banned, which is really funny. Ironically, the Ashe gets left through, and it seems that more teams are giving it the priority that it kind of deserves, but it really depends on the team. I think some teams are just letting it slip, and FlyQuest is not one of them because I really like it because it's a free opener. You get guaranteed matchups into everything. You can pick an AD or support, to be honest with you, because you could go like, let's say they respond with a Nautilus lane like this. You could actually go Renata here, and you go Ashe Renata. It's actually pretty decent into these lanes. FlyQuest instead opt for the soft counter with the Ezreal, going the Ezreal Ashe, which I think is fine. They could have let the Ashe flex, to be honest, and then they could have went for like a 2-3. Like, I would have been down for, let's say, they just match Hoi here or something, and then they go Aatrox, or they just take jungle priority. I think I'd be down for that as well. Would totally work. I definitely think there are some options here. I do like the 100 Thieves priority, though, on the Karma Nautilus. I don't think it's a bad sort of take here. The one that a lot of teams are going for is an Nautilus for sure, because a lot of teams just like the ability to have a generalist CC, and it's been higher priority with paired with the Senna. I think there's still some opportunity to play around with this, but I don't think it's a bad thing per se. FlyQuest opts to match with Orianna, which is fine, and they show Kai'Sa on 3. This is where I think is a little bit risky for 100T. At least in my opinion, it would be a little bit tough to. It's a little bit easy for FlyQuest to kind of think about what they're gonna do with the Kai'Sa at this point. I guess there's this new build that changes her champion identity a little bit. For a bit of background, Kai'Sa's champ identity does revolve around the builds, whether she's going for a normal build, like an on-hit build, or lethality build, versus the build that revolves around the W spam. Because depending on which build is actually viable, it actually changes her dynamic from being just a purely an engaged sort of backline diver or a poke champion, which is a little bit cringe and good at the same time. What I was surprised that they opt for instead was actually just taking Volibear, which completely slipped through the draft. I wonder if 100 Thieves just don't think it's good or something, because I think it's pretty good. And even if they didn't think it was like that good in general, they could have picked jungle and maybe on 3 here, or they could have taken Aatrox on 3. I really would have liked Aatrox on 3, and then you just ban your 2, and then it's basically guaranteed, and then you don't have to show AD till 4. But R4 versus B4 is like a little bit weaker because I would say R3 and R4 are effectively the same thing because you still have to think about 2 picks. The only difference is that you get 2 extra bans. That's the only thing, right? But if you're gonna pick something like Renekton anyway, you could even save AD for 5. Now, where it gets interesting is the Olaf Sejuani. So the Sejuani, to be honest, isn't the most special thing in the world. I think it's just a byproduct of the things that were banned, and it's a decent like early game facilitator. It's taking precedence over the route. I think FlyQuest basically are keeping in mind of like a jungler that needs to take a lot of space and get frontline heavily, and Sejuani is probably one of the better ones that can do that left. There's some other things as well that could have been decent. I think Trundle would have been fine. It's a decent blind. Excuse me. Sorry, I'm a little sick right now, but still wanted to make this video. Lee Sin would not have been too good, but I think the main thing is just they have a backwards laner that is able to create a backwards jungler that could create a lot of space. So I think there's a lot of options here. What I thought is super interesting though is the Olaf top, and this actually puts on a potential clinic for FlyQuest here because although you could go for more defensive options, like again, I sound like the Aatrox salesman in this game, but Aatrox probably would have been fine. You probably could have went Jax. You could have went Jace. Rumble would have been fine too. There's a lot of decent options. Like Cassante is free. It's a free pick here too. But this is a byproduct of FlyQuest determining that it's better if we play for in a way such that we shut down Sniper. So this is drafting not to just draft good champions in a nutshell. It's drafting contextually based on the style of the player or potentially the style of the team and shutting that down. So very possible that FlyQuest determined this and they're like, we need to go for a more aggressive option into the Renekton. Let me shit on this kid because, you know, it's his debut, it's his rookie split. So we got to make sure it's a bad one. So I kind of like this. It's kind of interesting. You're matching forward with forward in a way, right? They're kind of like, okay, cool, nice engage comp you got, but let me get lane priority in all lanes, right? I would say with the Mole top and bot, now Sejuani has room to play both sides. Most likely he's gonna, you know, think about protecting that bottom lane, let them do their thing, but the main idea here is giving the Renekton a really hard time. It's creating a lose con for 100 Thieves, in my opinion. And then 100 Thieves go for Trundle last, which is, to be honest, like more of like a traditional counter pick, but it doesn't match the sort of comp identity they're going for. And it could be because there's not many options left, right? Everything that's remaining is like kind of bad into their comp or into Sedge or both, right? Let's see what's popular right now, you know? And this is like a lead on from getting punished on prioritizing things like the Kaison 3. Right? You didn't necessarily gain anything. I don't think it would have gotten banned, and even if it did get banned, it wouldn't have been a big deal. And then on top of that, they got jungle pool choked. And this is where like it's kind of like a catch-22. Like if they just went like Volibear there, I would have been like totally chill on 2-3 or on R3, sorry. Because now when you're jungling R5, right, you generally should have a reason to save jungle for last, unless you have a very unique pick that you could have used to take advantage of this. And that was not the case for both conditions here. What's left that they could have picked? Lee Sin? Not really. It's turbo stomped by Sejuani and Olaf. And it's really hard, I would say, to make a lot of plays towards that FlyQuest bot side with that in mind. Maybe there's Maokai, but it's more of like a defensive champ, to be honest with you. It's more of a backwards champ, directionally. But everything else is genuinely just banned. Like, you could, the best champ here remaining is probably Viego or Vi. I think, no, my bad. Vi is not even in the draft anymore. Vi got nuked. And I think 100 Thieves got a little bit punished this draft. And it's kind of good on FlyQuest. Turns out, hey, we got good priority. We're strong. And now 100 Thieves comp is not really that cohesive anymore. So I just want to point that out. And I think gives a lot of room for especially Whipple to just kind of shit on Sniper in isolation here, because both teams, they know what both teams want to play for, because they've conditioned 100 Thieves to draft around the Ezreal Ashe. And then they've because of that, they take advantage of it. So just thought it was pretty cool. So yeah, that's it. See you guys.